Hey, how are you, Wandering Shepherd family? I am here. It is approximately 3 days after Hurricane Ian came through and kind of destroyed everything. The neighborhood's finally looking good. Everybody got their cleanup done, including myself. And so today we're going to be working on the actual pontoon a little bit. I was working on a couple of projects before the hurricane came and I had to stop everything. So one, I apologize for not posting anything, but two, um, two, safety first, right? It's a hurricane. So today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be installing a kit that comes from OMC to actually be able to pour the two-stroke oil into the actual tank reservoir without me having to actually move it back and forth. Um, I redid this pontoon boat from the ground up. I mean, I took it down to nothing but the tunes and the cross members, replaced the decking, replaced the carpet, new seating, everything, new electrical, new electronics, the whole 9 yards. I've been working on this thing for the better part of maybe 9 months to a year. A lot of it was because I was waiting for furniture, to be honest with you. Furniture took forever to be available during the 2021 season. But anyways, bottom line is, let me show you what I'm talking about so this way you can see why I'm installing what I'm about to install, because with the new layout that I made, it just makes better sense. So what you're seeing right here is the fact that I have now two batteries, I'm sorry, and then the actual tank reservoir for the two-stroke oil right in the middle. Um, Previously, all that was back here was just one battery and the actual tank, which meant that I had a little bit more wiggle room to play around with it and be able to fill it. But since I wanted to put the second battery back here, so this way I can have one battery solely for the motor and one battery solely for everything else, obviously that gave me some challenges. So I had to arrange everything this way. And in fact, I still got to secure this battery because this battery still doesn't have anything to hold it on to, but I'll do that later. But as you can see with this actual board that's here on top, for me to put oil into the actual two-stroke, I would have to then take out the entire reservoir back out, fill it up, put it back in. Kind of a hassle. So what I did was I went online and I found this kit from OMC, and pretty much it'll give me a place to actually pour the oil. It'll go in through a hose, and then the actual cap that is there will be replaced with this, which is actually a receiver for the actual hose, and it'll just pour the oil straight into it, which will make everything a heck of a lot easier and simpler. And I won't have to go through the hassle and the fuss and the muss of having to take that out. But I am going to have to drill a hole in the wood. And I intentionally, when I did everything, I made this piece of wood bigger than what it was. The actual piece that was there was smaller. But I wanted something bigger because I wanted to go ahead and put the actual light and mount it right on there, as you can see. But I also wanted to be able to then start adding rod holders and stuff out of the back, since this is where I go fishing with. So, I want rod holders. So anyways, stick around. I'll walk you through this process and we'll get it going. So what I'm doing is I'm drilling the actual hole exactly where I think the actual reservoir is going to be located. What I did was I measured from the actual back where my leg is, which is 5.5 inches from that back side. And then I tried to measure the actual left to right. I was off by about half an inch, to be honest with you, which kind of bothered me because I usually don't make that silly of a mistake. But it is what it is. What I think is that I think I just forgot to account for the actual railing and the thickness of the railing being 3/4 of an inch on both sides. And I think I only did it as half inch versus, 1.5 inches. And that's probably where I messed myself up. Anyways, I'm drilling the hole and I am trying to go slow. I don't want to rush. I don't want to try to push the actual hole saw through, because then what happens is it'll end up splintering the backside of it, giving you a very, very rough and not a clean cut. So I'm doing that, and then I'm gonna grab the actual filler neck and then insert it and make sure that it's the actual 3 mounting screw locations are not going to be bothered or interfered by my actual cut. And I do that, and everything seems to be working just fine. And so far, I'm pretty happy with the actual job. Hi, neighbor. One of my neighbors. Yep, I like what I did, and time to move on to the actual bottom. Now, by this point, I've actually went on ahead and I cut the hose already to the length that I needed. I didn't show myself drilling the 3 mounting screws to the top filler neck because, let's be honest, that's kind of pointless. If you're watching this, I have to assume that you at least know how to drill 3 holes and put in 3 screws. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift up this actual board off so I can then insert the actual bottom of the filler neck and actually mate it and couple that up, and then I'll put the actual wood back down again and then screw the cap on, and everything should be as it should be. So now at this point, I've already finished doing that. I got everything situated. I'm pretty happy with everything the way that it is. As far as the hole size, I'm probably realizing that it's probably about half an inch too short. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, there's nothing that's going to be going through there anyways, because the rain's going to hit on top. It's just the actual 2-stroke oil. I'm also not going to put any kind of a ring clamps or anything of the sort either, or hose clamps, because it's not really needed. There's no pressure that's going to be there. However, if this thing was going to be under any kind of duress, any kind of movement or shaking or anything of that sort, then I definitely would be putting in some hose clamps just to make sure that everything is perfectly secured. But for right now, this is actually looking pretty great. I'm actually going to go grab some 2-stroke oil, fill it up, and then I have to look at the actual weather and see when I can actually take her out again. So by this point, you're probably wondering, how much did that OMC kit cost? Where can I get it if I wanted to use it? I will link that information down on the description down below. As far as the cost, the OMC kit, I got it from eBay for $43.50, something along those lines. The actual hose, I already had some of that, since when I redid the pontoon boat, I had replaced the actual main fuel line, and what I was using is some of the leftover fuel hose that I had, since it would happen to be the exact same size. However, I will tell you, if you don't have that already, I would probably use a different hose, because that one has the actual wire going through the middle or wrapping around it. So it made trying to adjust and maneuver that hose just a little bit more difficult. So if you don't get it perfect, like I didn't get it perfect, then something that's a little bit softer may work out better. Just make sure that it is rated to be able to handle oil or petroleum products, because otherwise the oil will eat right through that hose, and then you have a different problem. All in all, why did I do this? Well, the channel is called Wandering Shepherd. I ask myself a ton of questions. Hey, how can I work smarter, not harder? I wonder if this will work. I wonder if I can make this thing a little bit simpler. I wonder how this restaurant, how their food tastes. I wonder, how this experience over here by going on vacation over here or going to do this outing over there. My wife and I, we ask a lot of questions. We wonder about a lot of different things. Sometimes that makes us wander off somewhere and visit somewhere. Sometimes it just makes me pull out the toolbox and start working away at something. I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy. I am not a professional, never have claimed to be one, but I like experimenting. I like just figuring stuff out and learning things that are new. So if you're like me, welcome to the channel. This is not going to be a channel about one specific thing. I'm going to be getting into all kinds of crazy mess. Some of them are going to be adventures. Some of them are going to be DIY projects. Whatever happens to pop in my head next that I start to wonder about, I'm going to go check it out. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to try to bring you along with me. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like the video. And thanks, fam. Take care of each other. And God bless. Thank you.